Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about Critica, even though I've already done a video for Critica. I just wanted to really concentrate on the second, third, and fourth pada. They're kind of like the first 10 degrees of Taurus, where these padas actually fall. So when Venus falls in second pada of Critica, basically what happens is that's 0 to 3 degrees 20 of Taurus. So this will be obviously a really nice part of the Taurus for Venus, because it rules it, and it's also at 3 degrees is the maximum exaltation degree of the moon. However, it's very strange because Critica is in Taurus, but it's ruled by the Sun, arch enemy to Venus. So you can see that people born with Venus here, they will have absolute beauty, because obviously Sun gives radiance and beauty, and Venus is planet of beauty. And this is the original second house of the zodiac, which is the face. So many models have this. But it's not great for marriage by any means, because its Critica is it's very piercing. It's one of the more difficult ones for marriage. And soft planets don't do very well in, generally speaking, in Critica. It's just too critical, too much about like the truth, and then it can give a lack of refinement as well to this. So basically, when you have Venus falling into the second pada, what will happen is that Venus will actually, in D9, will go into Capricorn. So it's actually goes into a friendly sign. So that and it travels 9 from itself. So that's always very good, because it just means there's nice growth forward for that Venus. And it goes into what you call a feminine sign again as well. And again, it will be an earth sign. So that's nice. 4 degrees, basically 3 degrees 20 to 4 degrees 14 of Critica. It's called what is called the Visha Nadi of Critica, which means this is probably the most poisonous part of the this actual nakshatra. So really no planet does well there, or ascendant. So it's a very difficult one. People come across a lot of obstacles, difficulties on their journey, so to overcome. Saturn is also at 4 degrees. Saturn is the Mritu Bhaga of Saturn, where Saturn doesn't do very well at 4 degrees. So just to repeat, the Vishanadi will be 3 degrees to 20 degrees, 3 degrees 20 to 4 degrees 13 of Critica, and at 4 degrees is Saturn Mritu Bhaga, which is like the difficult degree for Saturn as well. And the third pada starts obviously from 3 degrees 20 and goes up to 6 degrees 40. This pada is also entails the Yogatara, which is 6 degrees of Critica. So this will be like the Yogatara of Taurus, where it kind of captures the real essence of Critica in there. So again, remember that Critica is not the greatest of nakshatras. So any of us who have got planets there, we need to really work at being really focused on not being so cutting towards others, to actually hear other people out, and not cutting people out just because they have different views to us, different belief systems, so forth. In the third pada, what happens is the planet will then, Venus will travel 10 houses. so it will go into Aquarius. Again, a friendly sign, Saturn's Multitricona sign, so it's again very strong. It will be a more masculine air sign, and but still, you know, Venus does relatively well there because obviously just it falls into a really strong friendly sign there. The last part of, so it will be like 6 degrees, 40 to 10 degrees of Critica is probably the best pada here, where you have, it's actually called the Pushkaramsha pada, where planets here, they will actually much improve over time, and they will be much more helpful. They get a lot more help, and also at 8 degrees 40 to 9 degrees 33, it's also the Amrita Nadi as well, which is like the most wonderful part of Kritika. This part will be very nourishing, but any ascendant or the sun at 9 degrees of Kritika. So again, 9 degrees is the Mrityu Bhaga for the sun and the ascendant. So even though it falls within that nice Amrita Nadi, but still its sun doesn't do well there, and neither does an ascendant either. So this is what happens to that part. And what happens if Venus is sitting in that last pada of Kritika, it will actually go into Pisces, so it will be exalted in Navamsha. It will travel 11 houses and will go into a feminine water sign. So that's a little part about Kritika just before I start going into other things to do, you know, Rohini and Mik. Okay, so now let's look at the next 13 degrees 20 of Taurus, which is Rohini. Rohini starts from 10 degrees till 23 degrees 20 of Taurus. The 4 padas, all of them are in Taurus. And when Venus is in the first pada of because obviously from 3 degrees to 27 degrees of Taurus, generally we are talking, this is going to be Moon's Multitricona sign. The first pada of Rohini, 10 to 13 degrees 20, this pada will also be going 12 houses. So if Venus was sitting there, we'll be going 12 houses from Self, so we'll actually, in Navamsha, we'll end up in Aries. So we'll have kind of Mars and Venus, quite passionate sort of feel about it. It'll be more, obviously, because it goes into a fiery element as well. It's much more fiery placement for Venus. And 12 degrees of this pada is Moon's Mrityu Bhaga. So that means that Moon will really struggle at 12 degrees of Rohini. And it will give some issues again with mind, mother, feeling security, things like that. So it will be a little bit difficult there. Rahu is also at 13 degrees, will be Rahu's Mrityu Bhaga as well, where Rahu doesn't do so well at 13 degrees of Rohini, the first pada. And so it's worthwhile knowing that it's neither good for Moon at 12 degrees or 13 degrees for Rahu in the first pada. Then the second pada is from 13 degrees 20 to 16 degrees 40. This second pada actually takes in the Yogatara at 16 degrees. That's a nice, abundant Yogatara. And but also bearing in mind that 14 degrees is also Mercury's Mrityu Bhaga. So Mercury doesn't do very well in this at 14 degrees of the second pada. However, it's also Pushkara Bhaga for any planet that sits there. So it just means that with time, things will get better for any planet sitting at 14 degrees, including Mercury actually, even though you'll have some difficulties to begin with, being it's like difficult degree of Taurus for it. But nonetheless, though, things do get better. This second pada is Vargotama, is also Pushkaramsha as well. So it just means that with time, with putting energy into things, things will actually get better. And also, it also means that it's still going to be in Taurus in Navamsha. So it's nice Vargotama, particularly for Venus. Venus does well. But Venus also struggles at 15 degrees of this second pada. At 15 degrees is Mrityu Bhaga for Venus. So Venus doesn't do well. You'll there'll be some obstacles, issues to do with Venus if it's your ascendant, obviously, and Venus on your ascendant. So at 15 degrees, it will be difficult. And then we have the third pada, which starts at 16 degrees 40 and goes all the way to 20 degrees. This third pada takes in Ketu's Mrityu Bhaga at 18 degrees. So this is a difficult one for Ketu having it there, and also at 18 degrees 53 to 19 degrees 46 is also what's called the Visha Nadi, which is the most poisonous part of Rohini as well. No planet does well in these degrees. I'll repeat them again. 18 degrees 53 to 19 degrees 46 of the third pada is the Visha Nadi. So it's quite difficult, and obviously 18 degrees for Ketu is difficult. Now, what happens with this third pada is that Venus will then travel to Gemini, go second houses from itself, and it goes into a friendly sign. So it's pretty good in the Navamsha in a friendly sign. And then we have the last pada, which is 20 degrees to 23 degrees 20 of Taurus. This is the fourth pada. It also contains within it Amrita Nadi, which is from 21 degrees 33 to 22 degrees 26 of Taurus. So again, 21 degrees 33 to 22 degrees 26. This is the most wonderful part of Rohini. So if you have Venus there or you have your ascendant there, it's a really nice portion of Taurus. Really lovely. So as we know, Taurus, particularly Rohini, obviously ruled by the moon. It's extremely feminine ruled nakshatra and feminine ruled sign as well. So this is all about growth. Any planet, obviously apart from the degrees that we talked about in Taurus, will do well in this, because Rohini is all about creation and actually growth. So natives work very, very hard, put a lot of effort into their life in order to make things grow. They like sustainability and making things be durable and long-lasting as well. So, and then we're going to just touch on Mrigasira. Mrigasira has only got a portion of it in Taurus, so which will be just literally the last few degrees of it. So 23 degrees 20 to 30 degrees of Taurus. So it just takes in like two of the padas of Mrigasira. Mrigasira is ruled by Mars, so it'll have flavours of Venus and also flavours of Mars as well. So it's quite much more passionate. And so let's have a look at the degrees. Obviously, I'll actually finish the two of the padas when I do Gemini. So we have the first pada will be from 23 degrees 20 to 26 degrees 40 of Taurus. Now this part is has got Mandi, I don't know if you know about Gulikam Mandi, I'll just mention that, 24 degrees, it's Mritu Bhaga, the degree that's poisonous to Mandi. Moon at 25 degrees has this Mritu Bhaga in this first part of Mrigashira. So it's not one of the best kind of like portions of Taurus, and it also partially takes in Vishanadi as well. Vishanadi of this falls between the two padas, so it's between 26 degrees 26 to 27 degrees 20 of Taurus is the Vishanadi, which will be the most poisonous part. If you have any planets here or ascendant, they're always connected to some sort of difficulties, and it does take time before you work through those karmas. But generally speaking, things can improve with time. Time is everything, really. And so what happens with Venus being there? Venus will then end up in Leo. We'll go 4 houses away. So we'll go into Leo. So it's not the greatest position for Venus, because it'll be going into enemy sign, in a fiery sign. So it makes it quite difficult for relationships, actually. And then the second pada is between, obviously we said like 26 degrees 40 to 30 degrees of Taurus. So, and this portion is better. It has the Yogatara at 29 degrees 45, but Mars doesn't do so well at 28 degrees. That will be the Mritu Bhaga for Mars in the second pada. Very difficult portion for it. And also Jupiter as well in the Mritu Bhaga at 29 degrees of Taurus. Again, both Mars at 28 degrees and Jupiter at 29 degrees. These are difficult portions of Mrigashira for them to deliver. And what happens if Venus is sitting in the second pada? Will actually then travel 5 houses, which is really nice, and it goes into Virgo, which is although it's debilitated, but it's still a friendly sign. Normally, if a planet goes 9 or 5 houses away, there are things about those planets that we learn and we can teach others. So even though it's difficult and it goes into debilitation sign, I still think that, if just have a look at Mercury and see where Mercury is. But yeah, it does get debilitated in that. So Mrigashira will not be, certainly the first 2 padas are not really great for Venus. So that's how you can say, talk about this Mrigashira. Now Mrigashira is, I always find that if it falls in somebody's Venus, generally speaking, I don't think it does that well in Mrigashira. Personally, just reading charts myself, and I don't really particularly like to see Jupiter there or your 7th lord, because or even the 12th house as well, because Mrigashira is always looking. And these people can, in love, not be very settled, and they can cause issues with. They're always looking for something else. It's almost as though what they have is not good enough. So it really takes a really, really wonderful, humble person to actually work on themselves, to actually think, what is missing in me that's making me look. So it really is wonderful to do that, because this constantly looking, not being satisfied, it's not really what Venus is about at all. Venus is about just like having the partner that you have, and you just work together to improve things, and you just embrace good and bad together, and you work it together, if you like. So that will be, I hope this little clip helped, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you.